Hi guys, Igodalo Dianume here for Quorum TV, and today I'm going to be talking about content creation. Now, when it comes to content creators, we know how passionate we are about the gear we have, the cameras, the microphone, the type of lights we're using, and all that stuff. The gear you have can be inspiring to create the type of content you want to create. There are a lot of times when you get up and you're about to create content, but you don't have the right camera to do that. You feel like the camera that you have can't capture it at the quality you want to, and because of that you just give up hope. And that has happened to me a couple of times. And like right now I'm shooting on my Samsung S6 Edge because I wanted to show off the other camera that I'll be using. And most of the time I don't like shooting on this camera because it's a mobile phone camera and I feel like it can't give me the best quality that I need. While that can be true, sometimes when it comes to content creation, the best gear that you have is the one on you at that moment, and you have to be able to maximize it to create the type of content you want. So recently we got this device. This is the GoPro Hero 9, and my boss actually got it. So I think we had a discussion of the type of camera that we wanted, and of course I pulled out something from my wish list. I said it could either be, I was being modest, it could either be a 6D Mark II or a 5D Mark IV, both Canon cameras. And I talked about the lens that I wanted, and when this camera came here, I really didn't like it. I wouldn't lie to anybody. It was just like you wanted a Ferrari and you were giving a Golf. And so because of that, like, this camera was abandoned for a couple of months. Like, we just kept it. I think the first day we got it, it took me like a month to even unpack it. And when we actually set it up and got the memory card, like, we were trying to create content. But there's one thing that happens with particularly GoPros is, like, if you go to GoPro's YouTube page and you see the videos that they shoot, you get excited and you want to do the same. And by the time you've already captured the content, you play it back or you look at it on your big screen and it's nothing alike. So basically, this has actually become one of my favorite cameras in recent times, and I wanted to tell you guys why it has and some of the things that I did, and how I've been able to change my mindset and work around it to create the best type of content that it can create. So we'll be talking about that right after this message from our sponsors. Today's video is brought to you by AuraSense. AuraSense is a scent marketing brand that has products like diffusers, candles, room sprays, and humidifiers in different fragrances that can help you amplify your space and create that ambience that is really unique to you. Head on to www.aurasense.com to see the amazing fragrances and amazing range of products that they have. You could also check out their Instagram page and see a lot more about what scent marketing brings to the table and how you can take advantage of it and use it to amplify your space in your homes, your offices, and what have you. First off, we need to know what the GoPro is, and GoPro is a line of action cameras that can capture high quality video and are mostly used in sporting events and for people that are doing high speed stuff, right? But then again, it's a very compact camera, and I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to move around with it. Most of the time, one of the reasons why I even fancied it on the recent trip that I went for was just how compact it is. It can fit into my pocket, and most of the accessories can as well. So, but then again, the very first thing that really gets many people off GoPros is the lens. Now, when you first turn on the GoPro, it's always set to super wide because that's what it was actually created for capturing sports moments. So, like, really high speed movements and everything. So the lens just appears super wide. And okay, I'll use this same shot, this same frame, to show you guys what that would look like. By default, this is how the GoPro usually looks when it's on super view. And as you can see, even me just looking at the front camera here, like, I'm seeing that I'm really super distorted, and sometimes it can look like it's a good look, but by the time you're trying to like get videos of maybe just normal, you just want to take like a video of your space or you're walking around, it now starts making people bend one type of way, and you can see like the way things are above my head and all that. So one of the very first things that you really need to take care of when you're using an action camera is to set the settings for what you want to use it specifically for. Now I want to use this for shooting this talking head video that I'm doing right now, and the super view is the wrongest option for that, because the wrongest award, super view is the worst option for that, because except I want this look, it's showing too much details, it's distorting me, and that's because I'm using the wrong lens for this. Now the GoPro has a selection of different lenses that you can use for different instances, and in a case like this I would be suggesting you use the 16 to 35 mm. That was what I was actually using when I started this video. Now for most people, they just want to put on a camera and use it, and by the time you do that with the GoPro, you find out that it's showing something different. So yeah, the settings are very particular and very key. So let me switch back to what I was using. Alright guys, so I'm back to the normal view, and you can see this is way much better. Another thing that the GoPro does by default is it sets a color profile that can be very saturated when you're using it. So you need to go into the settings and you need to change a couple of things. There are a lot of videos here on YouTube that show different settings. I personally, two things that I'm going to say that you need to change for the GoPro to work better for your own instance is you need to bring down the sharpness. Right out of the box, GoPro makes images or videos super sharp, which can be very annoying to work with. You can't tell what is the subject, you can't tell what is the background, everything is just sharp like that, everything is sharp, and sometimes it looks as if it's like a razor blade, like something wants to cut you off, and it looks weird. Like I can't really explain it, but it's one of those things that when you see yourself in the video, you'll be like, what's this now? And you might even not want to edit the video anymore. So that's one of the things you need to bring down. You need to go into the settings and bring down that sharpness. Sharpness is something that you can easily add when you are doing post-production, depending on what application you're using to edit your videos. Most of them would have a means of you to add sharpness. Now adding sharpness is the easy part when it comes to editing videos. Removing sharpness requires a lot of technical skill, and sometimes it's even impossible. So it's always key. If you can reduce it, you can put it in medium, or you can just turn it off completely and leave it on low. That would save you a lot of problems going down the line. Another thing you need to take care of is the color settings. Now if you don't know how to color grade, you can leave it the way it is, but I strongly advise that you change the color profile from the GoPro's color profile to flat. What flat does is that it gives you the image in without as much color correction as possible. Now this is really helpful because when you're editing your whatever software you're using, you can easily increase your saturation, you can bring down contrast, you can all those things that you work on when you're working on images, you can do it for the video. And you know the thing about videos sometimes is you're changing scenes. There are times when there will be lights and next moment there's no lights. Like those type of changes are things that you want to be able to compensate for when you are editing your video. You don't want it to be done automatically. So put it on flat, learn how to color grade, and you get the best out of your GoPro. While the GoPro is an action camera, it was created most likely for outdoor settings. So when you're using it in an indoor situation like I am, you need to compensate for that light, that natural light that comes from the outdoor setting. So one of the first things that I noticed when I tried using the GoPro for the first time was how dark images used to look, like how dark the content I was creating used to come out. And the camera doesn't have like space for flash because it's very compact. So you need to compensate for all that. Like right now I'm using this type of light right here, just so that it looks really, it's not doing a lot, but it still compensates for something. Like if I turn it off, you probably notice, and like you can see, there's a lot of lights around me bouncing off, and that would make the image that you're actually seeing or the video you're watching clearer. Apart from the settings, just be very aware that if you're going to be using a GoPro for maybe vlogging or just like a talking head video like this, you need to compensate for light, because that's very key. Now the third thing I'm going to be talking about is really key, that you know how about camera settings, because for the GoPro, like I talked about earlier, it wasn't really meant for indoor settings. So what the camera tries to do to compensate for that is increase its ISO. Like the max ISO usually goes really high, and what that creates is a lot of digital noise when you are playing back your footage, especially in low light. One of the things you can do is to, like I said, compensate for the light and try to add as much light to the scene as you can, or you reduce that setting, just bring it down from that maximum value, bring it down to something like 800. I think 800 was what I used recently for some of the shots that I took, and they turned out well. Like you can experiment with it, bring it up, but don't take it too high, because then you start seeing this type of freckle noise on your videos. So my last point will now be how you edit GoPro videos. Like I talked about noise, it's one of the things that you might encounter no matter what camera you're using, right? It's always going to be something that you're going to. I've seen a lot of, in fact, one of the things that I love about content creation videos is just seeing how different content creators have their setups, and it can be, how do I put it? It can be overwhelming sometimes when you see somebody have that perfect setup that you want. But sometimes it takes them a lot of time to get there. So it shouldn't be something that discourages you. But then again, with whatever setup you have, try to find your way around it. And one of the ways I've found for myself is using DaVinci Resolve. Now, DaVinci Resolve is one of the programs that I've talked about a lot on this channel because of how good it is. And recently, with having to work with the GoPro, it helped out with color grading and a lot of that digital noise that I was talking about. Now, the free version might not have a lot of tools for taking care of noise when it comes to using the color correction panel of DaVinci Resolve, but there are still some free tools that can help you out when it comes to sharpness and reducing color noise. So one of the things I'll be advising you is to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve if you can. If your preferred program has a way of dealing with digital noise, that works out well. I know After Effects has a lot of effects that can help you take care of that. Okay, so I know I said that was the last thing I was going to talk about, but the actual last thing I'm really going to be talking about is your mindset towards content creation. Now, the reason why I fell in love with this camera or changed my mindset about it was because I took a step back from my whole mindset of, oh, this camera is terrible, it's not really doing what I wanted to do. I started going online and looking out for what other people have created, and by looking at that, I now started saying, okay, there's potential here. The only issue is that I don't know how to do the same thing that they're doing. So then I changed my mindset from somebody that was complaining to somebody that was willing to learn. And because of that, I was able to figure out some of the things that I didn't even know that this camera does before, and now I know. One of the amazing things that it does that I feel like I had a lot of fun using was the time-lapse function. Like time-lapse for most cameras just comes straight out, like you just do it and there's no way to stop or do real-time variations of it. But the GoPro allows you to be able to pause, like just switch in between time-lapse and real-time, and there's this type of effect, especially when you're in the groove of it, that he creates that is really nice to just see and watch. And when we were shooting content for our clients, like it was just one of those things that you just preview for them and they just be like, wow, wow. Is it this small device that is creating this magic? And yeah, that's how it is. So sometimes the best camera you have is the one in your pocket, whether you're shooting via mobile or you're shooting with something like this. Um, Learning how to make the best of the gear you have will go a long way with using that. So, guys, that's my time. I hope you guys have been able to learn something and have been able to inspire you to create more content with whatever device you have. Yeah, just switch your mindset. If somebody else is doing it, that means you should be able to do that as well. All right, guys. Till I catch you in the next one. Stay blessed. Peace. Hi guys, Igodaludni. GoPro is an action camera that is really compact and it was actually initially or I think there's a lot of noise in the background. Let's wait for that person to go back. Wait, because depending on how yeah, crazy people in Lagos. Crazy, crazy people.